Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page here at Facebook, where I do a daily live stream around the divination card or the oracle card that I draw in the morning, and we get to have a cyber roundtable, right? Spiritual roundtable, where we get to have a conversation about spirit or a spiritual conversation. And so, welcome. Today is Friday, February 1st. So, for those who celebrate and acknowledge, honor Bridget, the goddess Bridget, St. Bridget's Day is today, February 1st. And I wonder how many of you did your ceremonies last night to bring in St. Bridget's Day? I thought about it. I was actually reading some information about Bridget, and but I didn't do a ceremony. At least I turned my attention to her, right? So before we get rolling, I'm going to share and like on the live stream with my phone, and here we are. And so I'm going to share it over to my newsfeed, because I want my peeps, my friends, to know that I'm live streaming. And asking them to please join me. There we go. And we're going to post that. There. It's pretty simple. Easy. Thank you for letting me pause to do that. So, today's Friday. Yay. And guess what? Today when I got up, it was only -7 degrees. It wasn't -36. And when I went outside, it felt like a balmy spring day, and it was still 7 below. But yeah. It's kind of nice. Rochelle is here. Hello, Rochelle. Good to have you here. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. I do. Yeah, we had a very God, we had one of those mornings around here. I'm just glad that I don't do this at 10 o'clock in the morning anymore, because today I would have had to cancel. It was one of those mornings. Yeah. Started out with Mom. She her skin, when you're 99, things just really change a lot in your body. And she has this place on one of her thumbs, and no matter what we do with it, it heals and then it dries and cracks. Heals, dries, cracks, right? And we tried lots of different things on it. And anyway, she had some the crack started bleeding very early this morning. She gets up around 5 or 5:30, and so when I walked into the bedroom, it was like, what happened? Because there was so much blood. And so I was cleaning up the carpet. I was cleaning up her walker and stripping the bed, and she felt so bad. And I said, well, it's not like you did it to yourself, and she has to grab onto something to get up. So there it was, right? Yeah, looked like carnage in her bedroom. So anyway, and having to do, nightgown, blankets, and in the laundry and that kind of thing. So we got her situated, and she came out for breakfast, blah, blah, blah. That went smoothly. Well, she's back in her room. And George follows us into her room. And usually he visits her in the morning, crawls under her bed to lay or sleep, or, lays by her feet or something. And I'm in the kitchen, and I am clearing off her breakfast dishes. And all of a sudden I hear her talking to George. She's going, no, don't do that. Stop. And I'm going, oh my God. So I go running in there, and I'm expecting to see him, like, up on her chair or something. No. And I'm talking to a girlfriend, one of my sisters on the phone besides. And, oh God, my mom dropped her thyroid pill, and George ate it. Yeah. Needless to say, I kind of hung up on my sister. I said, gotta go. Yeah. Did you know that giving a dog hydrogen peroxide, I had to give him 4 tablespoons soaked up in a piece of bread, will make them throw up? I didn't know that. I had to call our vet's office, and those techs, let me tell you, I love those veterinarian techs over at Toma Animal Veterinarian Clinic. Yeah. So I did this, took him outside. He doesn't get people food. He doesn't get two-legged food. And so this was like, hey, this is a treat. Until about 5, not even 5, maybe longer than 5 minutes, less than 10, and he's throwing up. And did you know that it's really easy to clean that up when you're outside in the snow? You just take your snow shovel and bring it up. And so because I didn't want him stepping in it, or God forbid he'd re-eat it. Yuck. Ew. So that was my morning. And I had all kinds of things planned. You know what they say, best laid plans, right? So the vet had me wanting me to watch him for a couple of hours to make sure he didn't have any kind of reaction to it. And he didn't. He didn't. So he's just fine. Mom, on the other hand, she had quite a morning, because now she feels bad because she hurt George, and I'm sitting there listening to her, and yeah, it was just one of those mornings. And so everything I had planned to do this morning, yeah. Julie says he won't want it anymore. I was talking to Paul on the phone, and I said, the chances of him eating a piece of bread again is probably pretty slim. Anything that smells like hydrogen peroxide, he's not going to want to have anything to do with. Hi, Tina. Tina's in the house. Good to have you here, Tina. And Julie Hedges is here. She goes, oh no, Reiki and prayers for your mom, and back to normal. Yeah, Mom. Her thumb we've been dealing with since she's been here. So that's not. It's nothing new, is what I'm trying to say. The amount and where and how she got the blood, now that was new. And and the thing with George definitely was new. And it really did, it upset her. It did. Because she didn't, obviously she wouldn't mean to hurt him at all. And so she goes, I suppose now he won't be able to come in my room. Well, I said, well, he won't be here when you're taking your pills, that's for sure. He can come in your room, just not when you're taking your pills. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hey, and Rochelle is saying, try blue emo. It is great. I have very dry skin. I know, we did. First of all, she doesn't like the smell of it, whatever it was in there. I couldn't smell anything. No, it didn't work. Yeah. Rochelle, you have to remember, it's 99-year-old skin. And she's really sensitive too, more sensitive than I've ever known her to be. And yeah, it gets kind of frustrating sometimes, because we try a lot of different things. And Julie Shumway Hill's in the house too. Good to have you here, lady. Yes, Julie, it was quite a morning. The afternoon is so much better. Back to somewhat normal. Yeah. And yep, that's right. He won't want that anymore. Well, at least, we got some training to do too. I mean, we've been working with George. It's just that Mom hasn't been a part of it. So, to tell him to stop and to leave it. He understands leave it. And he's got selective hearing on stop. So, yeah, we're going to have to involve her in that. And Julie is saying, shared and loved. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate that. Hey, Mervin's here. Yay. Good to have you here, Guy. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie, for doing all the posting. And Tina says, my mom had that too, but it went away. Don't know how she'd done it if she was 86. Um, yeah, my mom says it's because of all the years, the decades after decade after decade working with deerskin and different kind of hides and making, regalia and things like this behind me. Um, tobacco pouches and all kinds of stuff. And she says that came from that. Did it? Maybe. Who knows? The one thing that seems to work most consistently, and you're not going to believe it, Vaseline. Vaseline, a petroleum product, is in my house. But it works. It works for her. She applies it and then she'll forget to apply it, and I'll remind her or apply it for her. And all she has to do is miss a day or two, and we're right back where we started. Yeah, we're getting there though. But hey, at 99, if that's all she has to worry about right now, not bad. Hey, Anne. Anne's in the house. She says, hello, Neshi. Avon Moisture Therapy Hand Cream works also. It does. Huh. We've been trying all kinds of stuff, but I have not tried Avon. It's worth a try. Like I said, the Vaseline seems to work, but it's not consistent. I mean, she has to apply it consistently. And therein lies the problem. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It really is. My mom made that years and years ago. She made the dress. It's all handmade. She worked with a lady to get the porcelain fired, to get the correct complexion tone. and she did. She did. Yeah, and I explained all about it yesterday. So if you want to kind of redo this, the front half of the live stream yesterday, it's all about it. I show some close-ups on it and stuff like that too. Yeah. Yeah. And Julie's saying I use coconut oil on my face. Don't know if that'll help. We tried it. Yeah. Well, it works great on my skin and my hands when I'm applying this stuff. There's some things that, oh man, I actually have to wear rubber, those surgical glove things. She likes to use Aspercreme, and it hurts my hands because to me it's too strong, but she, on different parts of her body, yeah, she needs the Aspercreme. So between the Aspercreme and the Vaseline, yeah. But if it helps her, it helps her, right? It's not my body it's going on. So yeah, 99-year-old moms, what can you do? Make sure they're safe, they're as comfortable as possible. And she can eat anything she wants. She wants it. All she has to do is ask for it, and I will try to get it for her. So anyway, that was my morning. We've got some good stuff going on. Yeah. We are going to start a brand new deck today. And I thought, what a great day. What a great time to start a deck like this, but on St. Bridget's Day, right? And so this is the card. This is the deck we're going to be using. It's called the Druid Animal Oracle. And it's by Philip and Stephanie Cargam. Get that a little bit closer. And it's illustrated by Bill Worthington. It's got some really good stuff in it. And we have to say thank you, Catchy McGwitch. That's a large thank you in Potawatomi to Mervyn Kelly. He sent this to me as a gift, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. But between reading Carl's book and spending time with the cards and reading the book itself that goes with the cards, it took me a little while. And it seemed like every time I went to go pick up the book, I had the cards and was going through the cards, but every time I picked up the book, somebody would interrupt me and it's like, okay, I guess I just can't do this right now, and so we have to shift things around. Oop, I did that one. Thank you for that, Julie. Rob says, sounds familiar. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right, so this deck, just reading the first, what is it? How many pages is that? 17 pages. I learned more in that first 17 pages about Druidry than I ever knew before, which is really good, right? There is one piece in here. I hope you don't mind that that I would like to read to you, because I think that it really it helped me to understand why would someone create a book like this and create the cards, right? And in those first 17 pages, both Philip and Stephanie, they share with us about the connection to the animal world, right? And there's something in here that really kind of struck home for me, and I wanted to share it with you. So it's a very long paragraph, so I hope you don't mind, but you're going to get read too before we actually talk about the card, okay? Because I think that I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll help you. I'm hoping to find the connection, okay? All right, so here it goes. It says the Druid Animal Oracle. The Animal Oracle, building on the accumulated wisdom of the past, is a new contribution to the ever-growing and changing tradition of Druidry. In particular, we see it as a contribution to the Ovid stream of Druid teaching, in which the art of divination is informed and deepened by an understanding of psychology as well as traditional lore. The inspiration for it rose 3 years ago when we were shown the medicine cards of Jamie Sams and David Carson during a workshop in America. Bringing a set back to England, we realized that Celtic and Druid animal lore could also be presented in the form of a card set. It seemed the perfect way to convey the richness of a tradition which is now being rediscovered. The medicine cards present primarily Native American animal teachings, but the first card spread suggested is a Druidic one, and its mention seemed a beautiful symbol of the rainbow bridge that connects our respective traditions. They have much in common: sacred circles, the honoring of directions, a deep reverence for the natural world, a belief in animal guides, and an abiding sense that the land itself is sacred. There is even evidence that the Druids worked in sweat lodges, and we know that bird feathers were used in ceremonial clothing and headdress. When we were in America, some Native American teachers expressed the opinion that, quote, white people, unquote, were taking their traditions from them just as they had taken their land. Quote, they should make connection with their own roots first, they told us, end quote. Quote, then they can come to us if they like, but first let them make peace with their own ancestors, end quote. While being wary of generalizing, because there are always exceptions, we believe they are probably right. Once we can feel fully at home in our own indigenous tradition, then somehow it's easier for us to relate to other traditions. Coming from a secure, rooted base, we no longer have the feel of an outsider or a predator, and we can transcend the divisions of race and culture to feel truly at home in all traditions, with all of humanity. In recognition of the deep bond that exists between the native traditions of all lands, we would like to offer this animal oracle as one means of helping people to connect to the richness of their spiritual heritage. I read this page and fell in love with Philip and Stephanie. Because there are many times in the classes that I teach, and even when we're doing live stream shows or internet talk shows, that my suggestion always is that to research your ancestors, your heritage, right? Because there's a reason why. There's a reason why your soul chose to come in the family that you did, in the race that you did, where they end up living, right? All of that was already pre-chosen by our souls. And so we carry with us in our blood and our bones the wisdom of our ancestors. And so if we don't know them, if we don't know where they came from and what their traditions were, when we go to someone else's traditions, sometimes it's, how do I want to put this? It's forcing it, right? And many times people tell me that that it fills something that they feel is missing in their life, or they were drawn to Native American spirituality because of how we treat the land, how we treat Grandmother Earth, and they find that very comforting, right? It's something that they agree with, and all of that is good. But there's probably a reason why the draw is there. And I think Philip and Stephanie really, really touched something there. And so to be able to share this through their cards is, the cards are beautiful, and we're going to work with them. But more importantly, they connect many of us to that ancestry. Now, yes, I am mostly Native American, but I do have French Canadian in me, and I do have some Spaniard in me, and I also have some Germanic blood in me, right? I mean, they're like 3%, 4%, but it's still there. That ancestry is still there. And so there's a part of us that will, there'll be a remembering of some of the things that we're going to see, and some of the things that we're going to be chatting about, right? Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could meet these two people, because I would definitely give them a big hug. All right. Let's see. I got to scroll a little bit. Yeah. Julie says, looks amazing. It does. Wait till you see the cards. And Stephanie said, my single keeps dropping out. Dang it. You must be getting really tired of that. Talk about frustrating. Yeah, because it's, I think that started about a week ago, right? Rob is saying, making peace with our own traditions. Yeah, making peace with our own ancestors is what he said. Yeah. And Rob is saying, is that an individual cultural level? I think both. I think both. Yes, the new deck. The new deck. This one. Druid Animal Oracle. Yep. And Rob is saying, Nellie, I dropped for a bit. Was you quoting Philip? Yes, I was. I was quoting him. I read from it first. Yes, respect first. Exactly, Anne. Mm-hmm. And not just for the other tradition, but for yourself, and for your own ancestors. Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that out loud, Mervyn. All right. And Julie's saying, I wonder what they say about those who are orphans with no connection to ancestry in the physical. Okay, so that may have been the case like even a decade ago or 20 years ago. But there's so many ways now to. It's not necessarily having to know like your family tree, but to know through the DNA what percentage you are of this or that. Yeah, because there's different ways of finding that out now, right? I mean, two that we know of for sure, and that's Ancestry.com and also 23andMe, right? And so you're not, if you look at it in a way, Julie, that it's not necessarily going for the family tree kind of situation, right? But to find out where did my people come from genetically through the DNA. When Paul and I did the Ancestry.com, it does show the travel sort of from one continent to the other, especially for Paul, and approximately which century, what the date, like 17 something, and so it doesn't necessarily give you the family tree thing unless you want to, and then you have to sign up for it, and they do all kinds of stuff with it. But that wasn't our intention. That wasn't our intention at all. And so there is a way to actually find out more on a general basis, not necessarily knowing who your 6th or 13th great grandmother was, right? Yeah. And Rob is saying the Wiccan tradition, Gardner actually remembered the traditions from the Strega. Yeah, and that's always a possibility, right? And why not? Why not? If I was just going to say, you don't necessarily even have to know when you're in meditation, when you're in your heart, in that tiny space of your heart, and because in there you can meet with anybody, anyone, anywhere, and you can meet with your people there, right? Meet with your grandmothers. You don't necessarily even have to know how that lineage actually works, the family tree kind of thing. Yeah. And Rob's saying, but Philip is representing Druidism, though did attempt a bit of fusion with Wicca in Druidcraft. He does kind of talk about they actually call it witch. I think it was witchcraft druidry. He doesn't talk a lot about it in this particular, because this is just the forward. 17 pages before you actually get to the card meanings. And I know that he has another book. And why don't I do this? Let me get to who is Philip. Hang on. I know it's here. I should have marked it. Where they talk about the author. Here it is. It says, about the authors and the illustrator, Philip Carr-Gomm, I hope that's how you pronounce his name, is chief of the Order of Bard, Oviates, and Druids. He's the author of The Druid Way and the Elements of the Druid Tradition, and the editor of the Book of Druidry and the Druid Renaissance. Philip studied with Chief Druid Philip Ross Nichols from the age of 15. After taking a degree in psychology, he trained in psychosynthesis and psychotherapy for adults and play therapy for children. Stephanie Carr-Gomm studied at Bath Academy of Art before traveling extensively. After returning to the UK, she trained as a scenic artist. I don't know what that is, at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and has since worked as a freelance artist for many theater, opera, and ballet companies. Stephanie is responsible for administering the training program of the Order of Bards, Oviates, and Druids, which teaches people all over the world. Bill Worthington has worked as an illustrator for the last 20 years. His interest in the ancient past and Arthurian and Celtic mythology is reflected in his paintings and drawings, and he has contributed illustrative work to the Book of Druidry and the Druid Way. He is a Pendragon of the Order of Bard, Oviates, and Druids. Selected card illustrations are available as prints as well. So I do know that in the first 17 pages, he did mention a bit of witchcraft, but he didn't really explain any of it. So I really can't say one way or the other, Rob. All right. And yes, Mervyn says he has many books. Rob is saying the source of that is Italian Witchcraft by Raven Grimassi. Indigenous ways are rather similar, but he argues the Italians were able to maintain their traditions through the persecution. And, and I have to, from what I've read a long time ago, I would agree that they kind of went underground, sort of, so to speak, right? Yeah. But when it comes to the Druid and the relationship to Wicca, I don't know if Raven would be a good source, because his is opinion, right? I don't know, because I haven't read his book either. So, I don't want to be too judgmental. Rob says, is that theater scene maker? I believe so, because it said scenic, and I'm going, but that's kind of like landscape, isn't it? No, but I think that because, it's, they spell words differently than we do too. Those people over there in the UK. I mean, how many people spell the word color? COLOUR, right? So anyway, I am very happy to be able to bring this deck to you and see how we can connect with it and what we see in it. There is something that Philip really states several times, is this is not about predicting the future. It's not about predictions. It's all about the present, and what spirit through the cards can help us understand about the present, and things that if we choose, because we have free will, if we choose, we can change, which changes the outcome in the future. So it's not about predicting the future. And there's also, let's see, there's 29 animal cards and 4 dragon cards. The 33 cards representing these animals, and then there's also 3 blank cards that if it was my personal deck, then I might add, a couple other animals in there that were being meaningful to me, right? He says the cards have been drawn using principles of sacred geometry, the science of great importance to the megalithic building pre-Celtic Druids who employed it extensively in the building of the stone circles. Each image incorporates the same use of a pentagram, circle, and square. Now get this. The border of the animal cards conveys a message in Ogham, the tree language of the Druids. So I'm going to show you the first card here. And they also have a pronunciation guide, which is really good, because reading through it, I was like, I could maybe try to make it into Potawatomi language and try to sound it out that way, but chances are that would be wrong. All right, so we get to learn a little bit of a different language too. And oh, here it is. All right, so this is the first card that came. Now, I only drew one card. There's different spreads that you can use with this deck, of course. It's called Hind, and that's the English word. And the Gaelic word is Illich. spelled Eilid, Illage. And I'm using the pronunciation guide. All right, so see around the edge there? That's the language, the Ogham language around the edge. And so if we wanted to interpret that, we would have to have the key, right? But this is a deer. And when I was looking at it, it's like it wants us to follow her because it's a doe, it's a female, wants us to follow her down that path. There's so much in this card and the imagery in it. I mean, look at that limb coming across, right? And it looks like it might have some new growth on it. With the sunshine coming through. Almost like it's clear vision, that if we follow her down that path, we may have some clarity about something. And that's without reading you the meaning behind the card. What do you guys think of that? What do you think? I got to scroll down a little bit. Thank you. Let's see. Of course, you guys are talking about the color, the word color. All right. Thank you, Rob, for that. For the language. You do? Mervyn says he knows what the message is. All right. And Rob is saying the own language harder to pronounce than Gaelic is Welsh. Yeah, the Japanese might say something different about that because I think their language is pretty hard. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Except when you here, I'm going to take yours down. If I hold it out and without trying to get the you can kind of see how long her legs are. But you're right. At first glance, she kind of looks like a lamb. And I think it's probably because the color is white. Rob says I gave up a long time ago. I don't blame you. Yeah, it's a white deer. It's a female. It's a doe, female deer. But not a white stag. No, it's not a stag. Mm-mm. Okay, and Hind, Hind is pronounced Hind. Really? Hind. Thank you for that, Mervyn. Hind. Yep, drawing us toward the light. That's what I thought, Anne. That's what I thought. That's what it felt like the first time I saw it without reading anything about the card. I thought she was drawing us down, like wanting us to follow her down that path into the light. And the fact that the light is just shining on her, blessing her, right? That sunlight. Illumination. All right, so down in the corner, I'm going to hold this kind of close. Hopefully the camera will focus. Down in the corner, I'm going to put my elbow down so I don't shake too much. Down in the corners, do you see the acorns? Each corner has an acorn from the oak, a baby oak, right? The seed. A lot of ferns. Like I said, there's so much in this. Because you have the oak leaves there, the ferns. Yeah, gorgeous. So much can be going on in there. Now, I'm going to clue you in on what they say in the book about the card. The hind, I'm going to get this language yet. The hind is the female native red deer. Ah, okay. So, but because the red doesn't show up in the card, we're not really dealing with their actual color, right? And so with the white being that way, talk about purity, right? Innocence, maybe. Kind of like the ghost deer. Um, yeah. All right. And Julie is saying, this is the beautiful and mystical. I know my next deck. I know, right? Exactly, Tina. Yes, white is holy. And actually the color white itself is all the colors pulled together, right? So it's got all the spectrum of color in it, and it's white. So it's inclusive. Unified is what I'm hearing. Unified. When is Nellie going to do an intro to Druidry class at SNA? Well, wouldn't that be something? I don't know. Do you think maybe the next time he comes across the pond, he would do a intro class for us? Maybe. Acorns are food. All is provided. Perfect, Anne. Perfect. Everything is provided. Spirit provides, right? I know. I agree, Julie. It's a beautiful deck. And Rob is saying, is this a female counterpart to the white stag? That would be a question for Mervyn because I don't know. My chances are it would be because we're dealing with then a balance, right, of male and female. Yeah. There's days when I just really love coffee. It tastes so good. Okay. Let's see what Philip has to say about the Hind or the Hind. Illage. I'm going to learn a whole new language. All right. So the words associated with it is subtlety, gracefulness, and femininity. Subtlety, gracefulness, and femininity. The card shows a white hind in the forest in late summer or early fall. I'm going to get the card. What do I do with it? Here it is. As I read this. Acorns hang heavy from the oaks. The hind calls to us to follow her deeper into the forest. Standing in a shaft of sunlight, she appears so elusive we're not even sure if she is of this world. Illage brings us the gentleness and the grace of the feminine principle, whether you are a male or a female, opening to the qualities of the hind, I'm going to get this yet, will enable you to achieve a greater degree of sophistication, subtlety, and elegance, in the best possible sense of the terms. Deer and the white hind, in particular, call to us from the other world, from the realm of fairy, and invite us to look beyond the material, beyond the superficialities of life, toward the heart of things, toward the realm of cause rather than effect, to look at the cause rather than the effect. Poised in moon or sunlight, Illage invites us to begin an exploration of the other world, of the spiritual dimensions of life. And is definitely connected to fairy. It says that in Scotland they're called fairy cattle, and it said that they are milked on the mountaintops of the fairies. Others believe that the hind themselves are fairy women who have taken the form of deer. There's 3 hag goddesses in Scotland who protect the fairy cattle. Calic? Calic? Is that the correct pronunciation? Calic? Calic Calic More Navad? I'm not gonna try. Oh. All right. So looking past the materialistic, superficial, but to look deeper is what they're saying. Going into the spirit, into the other world, to begin an exploration of the other world, of the spiritual dimension of life. So, looking at who is in this chat, in the live chat, wouldn't you say that every single one of you are on that exploration? You know, and as we're looking at a female, right? The gentler side, the more inward, even though she is standing in the light, female energy is more subtle. It's more introverted than extroverted. More subtle. So, what could this be asking us about for today, or telling us, I should say, for today? So, follow spirit, right? Follow me, follow me, follow me into the light, into clarity. I gotta scroll down a bit. Okay, wait. There we go. Julie is saying the card feels like grace to me. It's heavenly and emotionally touching. I agree. When I first looked at the card without reading anything about it, I wanted to walk down that path. You know, to try. Do you ever do that when you're I don't know, traveling? You know, going from like, even if you know the roads, right? You take the more country road, right? The rustic road. I wonder where that road goes to. If that's me. Let's try. And so, yeah, is to be able to take that. And it did seem, the emotion I had, checking in with yourself when you saw the card, that's a good one, Julie, is what kind of emotion did it elicit for you? What did you feel, right? Julie's saying grace. She felt grace. Yeah, and you know, it feels serene. It feels serene to me. To me. Julie Shumway Hill saying, I agree, we need a Druidry class. I'm reading a book by Penny Billington to gain more knowledge and discover it may be in my blood and bones. Whoo, yay. All right. Well, Julie, you realize Shumway Hill is our brand new Star Nations Academy manager. And so she's going to help me to plan classes and to help with the registration and all of that. So I think we may have your maiden voyage class that I haven't already set up. Mervyn is saying they also made the Druidcraft Tarot. Really? That might be something we're going to look into, huh? Thank you for that, Kaliak. Okay, Kaliak. Thank you for the pronunciation. And Julia is saying the card brings tears to my eyes. Is it because of the grace that you feel? Yeah. Or is it the bravery that she has to walk that path into the light, into that illumination, right? Because it does take some courage to do that. Mervyn is saying, but I've heard it pronounced slightly different in Scotland. Oh, okay. Anne is saying beautiful. Yes, I agree. Rob is saying depends on how many drams were consumed first. How much is a dram? Anybody know the measurement of a dram? Tina says, I felt holy to me because I looked at it from the native perspective. Exactly. It's still indigenous, Tina. It's still indigenous. Um, their perspective from what I read, right? And it would be great to actually talk to them. All right, I got to get an interview with Kyle Gray, and now we have to interview Philip and Stephanie. Or maybe we could get Mervyn to do that since they're all right there, and I could be a guest. Yeah, we could do that. And we got so many options here. So yeah, from what I can understand from what they wrote, Tina, is that um, they they did get the idea for this cards from Jamie Sams. They did. And they took a look at it from their perspective, from their indigenous perspective, from their own land, their own understanding and perspective. And so I think that because there's this commonality, if we go far enough back and we're looking at indigenous from no matter what continent, that we have these common threads, right? And what you felt is that holiness coming through. And I think that that's there, and that's the meaning of the white color, right? That purity. Yeah. So, what excited me about this deck after reading the forward part of it, the first 17 pages, is that this is something that brings us all together, to be able to sense, feel, and see it from our own cultural perspectives, and yet we're all on the same page. Isn't that something? Talk about the unified field. God, and so here I am reading this last night at I think it was 11 o'clock. Yeah. So it took me a while to go to sleep because the mental mind kicked in, and I was thinking, oh my God, it could means this, it could mean that, and yes, I did think of it about the classes, and yeah. All right, so we got less than 10 minutes here, and what I would like to do is ask Mervyn. Mervyn, if are you home? Okay, you can say no. I can send you the guest link, and if you wouldn't mind coming on to help us with what's written around the side in the Om language. If not, because I know that it takes a while to type. But if you're not up to it, because I know it's the end of the day for you. Yes, I do. He goes, would you like to know what the message is? Yes, I do. But I can send you the guest link, but I don't want to push you either, so you can just tell me yes or no, and we can go from there. Oh, okay. Rob would know. It's a shot. A dram is a shot. Julie saying, it's the softest, gentlest whisper of joy. Come follow me. That's what brings tears to my eyes. And then the light opens up to the source of all light, God, Spirit. It's calling from chaos into light. And you can tell you're a poet. I love that. And thank you. I promise we won't. We won't judge that at all. I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to go over to Messenger, and I'm going to find you there, and I'm going to send it right now. There it is. You should have it momentarily. See, this is one of the cool things that we can do with our partners at Be Live TV is that we can do something like this on the fly. Isn't this fun? We might go over a little bit, okay? Just so you know. And he'll be coming in a minute. He's probably trying to get things situated, get his headphones, that kind of stuff. And remember, it is the end of the day for Mervyn. They're, I think, 6 or 7 hours ahead of us. Rob, we know you're not just another pretty face. Julie saying, yay, cheers for Nellie. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be here. It just takes a little bit, and Mervyn also takes care of his mom, and so maybe he also has to go check on her to situate things there. When you're a caregiver, a primary caregiver, you can't just always just come and go the way you want to, right? You have to take care of a few things before you can. Here we go. Hello there.
Hello.
Thank you for doing this. Oh my gosh. Or next time you come in, you're going to say, now, Neshi, don't put me on. Thank you so much for this. I was so excited to start this new deck, and literally could not sleep much last night because of all the things that I was thinking about. And Tina actually kind of touched on some of that. So um, I think, how do I want to do this? Hold on. Is this going to work? I think we're going to do it like this. Um, um, hey peeps, if you can let me know if you can, how well you can see the card as Mervyn lets us know what the message is of the Om language around the
Oh,
O
Oum.
Om
Oum.
O Om.
Oum.
Okay. Oh,
It's similar to Ohm, but not quite.
Om.
Oum.
Okay.
So
Like I
like,
said, I'm gonna learn another language here, which is good.
try this. O,
O
um,
M
um,
M.
um,
Okay, that's very English.
Oum.
O M.
It's actually Irish.
It is
Yeah.
O M.
Oum.
And yeah, I got to think about the English, the Irish accent too. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to do it this way so people can see the card. So, what is the message going around the edge?
Can't tell you it's secret.
Yes, you are, because otherwise we're going to have to come over there and hurt you.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You'll love this. The songs of our ancestors are the songs of our children.
The songs of our ancestors are the songs of our children. Wow. All right. The songs of our ancestors are the songs of our children. And you know what that makes me think of, Mervyn, is when the sound that we have as a soul, our soul song, is unique to each one of us, right? And when we do our healing work on healing those emotional or mental traumas, we get closer and closer to that original song that we came in with, right? And so when you talk about how that our ancestors' song is our children's song, that we can actually help our children and our ancestors when we do our healing. So their song is getting passed down to the children. I love that. So I'm going to show the card again. Can you say that again, please? So that,
The songs of our ancestors are the songs of our children.
yeah. Wow. I love it. I do. I do. I do. I love it. Uh, Rob says, I've heard from Amantha Murphy, but it varies, as you said. Yeah. Huh. Well, how do you feel about that? The songs of our ancestors are the songs of our children.
Well, it's the connection between the past and the future, and the fact that we're in the middle as guardians and protecting and passing on not only what we've learned, but the world that we've got now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not doing very well at that, really, are we?
Well, I think we're doing the best we can, given the
I should qualify my statement.
yeah.
There are elements within society that are doing the very best that they can and actively trying to make everything better. But then we've still got the other part that has got a long way to catch up.
Well, I know that you've been working a lot because you work long hours when you do work at your job. I know. Last night when I was with Orchard and Carl, and we're talking about his book, and we were talking about how Earth has, the different vibrations, and how those who are at the fourth and fifth dimension will be on one Earth, the new Earth, and those who are not in that vibration will remain on a different Earth, but they'll have choices again to make different choices to raise their vibration. And so at some point, we get to live in a world that's more like our own vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, the work that we're doing, it is making a difference. It is. Yeah, I love that though. The songs of our ancestors, the songs of our children. And you're right. What I loved about the foreword that was written is how much Philip really impressed on the point that these cards are not about prediction.
No, not
It's
at all.
about the present and helping us in this time frame, in this moment.
Yes, he's a very smart man.
So what are the chances of you being able to interview him?
I don't know. I'll ask the question and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Well, tell him the story. Tell him the story about the deck of cards and with me using them, because I would love to be on that show with you.
He already knows.
Yeah.
He already knows.
Yeah, I know. But tell him about this part.
Okay, I will.
Tell him about this part. Because I've never had felt that draw to come to England. How some people are really drawn to go to Hawaii because of Lemuria, right? Or Atlantis or something like that. And I've always been drawn to Ireland. But I have to honestly say, last night I had this calling, this yearning to go to England just so I could meet Philip and Stephanie and to give them a big hug. Because this is the first time I've read anything written by a European that hit the nail directly on the head when it comes to cultural belief and spiritual belief. Yeah, it's good. Very good.
Yeah, he's a very smart man.
And he's your teacher, right?
He's head of the order.
Yeah.
The teaching is a difficult to describe, but they lay down the lessons and you teach yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You find your own way and your own way, not just way of learning, but the things that you learn are what you need to learn there and then. And then, should you go back to it 10 years later, you'll find what you need from them at that point as well. And sort of, it's not, it's an experiential thing. You need to experience the lessons. They're not dry book lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a lesson. Now go off and experience it and find your way.
So you're following the Hind down the path.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we've got a couple of people making some comments here you need to know. Okay. So, of course, Julie's saying more tears. This is about the song. And Pat is saying, I love it. I think Julie is really going to buy this deck. You should check out the Tarot one too. I'm not sure, not so you'd notice. I don't know what that means, Rob. I must have missed something in between. Um, Pat is saying, I joined late. What deck are you using? I'm using this deck. It's called the Druid Animal Oracle by Philip and Stephanie Cargom.
Cargon, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Mervin gifted me this deck, and so today is the first day we're using it, Pat. It's great. I couldn't wait for this. My morning was really rough though. Rob is saying, is that the other part of that holds power and seems hell bent on wrestling? Could be that won't let go in that third dimension. Yeah. Yeah, wrestling what they don't have from the rest of us. Well, they try. But what we really have, they don't want. What we really have is our heart and our spirit and our belief, right? And how we try to walk in a good way.
Yeah.
They don't want that. Okay, let's see. And Julie is saying the translation of the message brings more tears. Yes, it does. Went right to the heart, didn't it? It is an expression of Kether. Okay. You're welcome, Pat. You're welcome. And we got to thank Mervin here for saying yes and coming on with me. Thank you so much for doing that. I know it's late. It's you put in a full day probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you could
to be up at 3:30. Did you know?
Yuck. All right, I'm going to let you go in just a second. I just want to plant this seed. Okay. What I want to plant is that the next time you plan to come to the States is if you could work in that plan that you come here and teach that intro to Druidry.
I shall certainly attempt to do so.
Okay. And you don't even have to call it intro. You can call it anything you want. Maybe a Druidry experience or something like that, you know, for us beginners. And the chances are is that it's probably something that we already do or we will remember, right?
Yes, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely.
Yeah.
When you first start down that path, you're wondering where this come from because you already know this, and it's very it's kind of like yourself. It's built into us.
Yeah.
This is where we were. This is what we remember it.
Right.
But we don't know how, and we don't know why. It's just always been a part.
Mm-hmm. It feels comfortable.
Yeah.
It feels comfortable. And you know, and I've felt that in different times with different spiritual experiences from different cultures. Now I have to say that there's some that I went, oh no, can't do that. That's too much of a stretch for me. But there's others that wasn't a stretch at all that I could feel and see, sense that this is something that my ancestors did, and it feels comfortable because it's familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Because it's familiar. Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people who are of European descent, especially possibly in America, maybe over here, wherever they may be, feel that draw to a Native American spirituality because they remember it from the same thing, but from their own ancestry.
Right.
But because the Native American culture is so is more well known than the Druidic culture, then people latch onto it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it feels familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I do. And, and I have, and there's some people in the chat that I have actually said this to is, is to do your research. Go back and see who your ancestors were. Who were they? Were they the Celts? Were they Pict? Were they Russian? Who are they? Because if you go back to their indigenous roots, that there's things there for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's things there for you to know. That's why you came in the way you did.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go because I know that you, like I said, I know that you worked a whole day and you have to get up early. So thank you so much for making time to come on and join in. I appreciate it. And thank you for the interpretation of the Omwe. I'll get it. This is my first day with a new language. Give me a month or two and maybe I might be able to do the pronunciations closer to what they're supposed to be. All right. Well, thank you and rest well. Sleep well.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Wasn't that fun? That was so much fun. All right. So remember, anything that you heard today, if it resonated with you, please embrace it and see how the energy unfolds around you and how this information is helpful. And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's always tomorrow. Might resonate with you tomorrow. And I usually do a little of what's going on this coming week, but honestly, I don't want to keep you anymore. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day and we'll see you back here for the daily daily live stream and card draw for the group tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Central. Have a wonderful rest of your day and we'll see you tomorrow. Bama Mina until we see each other again. Love you guys.